Welcome to Kishore's Neet Padasala. In this video, we will deal with certain connected bodies and their equations to find their acceleration. Okay, this is the first case. Two bodies M1 and M2 are pulled by the force F. Okay, first let us draw the free body diagram for mass M1. Downward force, gravitational force, upward force is the normal reaction, and see, force is acting only on M2 block, not on M1 block. So we are not writing F here. Instead, tension is acting. Tension is always away from the block surface, so tension is T, and it is moving with an acceleration A. So first, along the horizontal direction, I am writing the equation. Tension is equal to M1 into A. Now this is for block 1. For block 2 I am doing. For block 2 there is a force acting here and the rope is here. I have always said that tension is in the opposite direction. So tension, and it is moving in the same direction of the applied force. So I have said that net force is equal to MA in the previous videos. Net force means the greater force minus lower force. Since the greater force is along this direction, the object is moving in this direction. So F is the greater force minus tension is equal to M2 into A. Okay, since we are consuming the second block here, so we have found that tension is M1A. M1A is equal to M2A. Tension is equal to M1 plus M2. Force is equal to M1 plus M2 into A. So acceleration is F by M1 plus M2. So we have found out the acceleration due to acceleration, and we also found out the tension value. The similar way we have to do all the numericals. Okay, suppose let us assume this thing. What is the acceleration they are asking? Okay, and what is the contact force between M1 and M2? What is the contact force between M2 and M3? First let us see. Acceleration due to gravity is force by sum of masses. So force by sum of masses is M1 plus M2 plus M3. This is the acceleration value. Now contact force between M2 and M3. How I have done in the previous way, that like you must do, but remember that in exams you won't get time to do that much thing, so you must remember it as a formula. I will say you a trick also to remember formula. Contact force between M1 and M2 is, contact force between M1 and M2 is, okay, sum of these two masses divided by force into sum of M2 plus M3 divided by M1 plus M2 plus M3. This is the contact force between M1 and M2. And in the second case, they are asking contact force between M2 and M3. Contact force between M2 and M3 is force into M3 divided by M1 plus M2 plus M3. This is the contact force between M1 and M2. Sorry, M2 and M3. See, if they are asking M1 and M2, then M2 plus M3 you want to multiply it in the numerator. If they are asking M2 and M3, then the block on the right side, that is M3 divided by M1 plus M2 plus M3. This like you must remember the formulas, because in the exam you won't get time to calculate the formulas and all. Okay, now this is another one numerical. Okay, see that like this they have given. Okay, let us draw a free body diagram for the block 1. For block 1 M1, here tension is acting in this direction and acceleration is also in this direction. You will not write the force F, because force is acting only on M3, directly on M3. It is not acting, it is acting indirectly on M2 and M1. So you are not writing the force since it is acting indirectly. So tension is equal to T1. Let us assume it here. Let this tension be T2. So tension T1 is equal to M1 into A. Okay, now let us draw the free body diagram for M2. M2, since we are assuming in horizontal direction, I am doing it for only horizontal direction. Tension T2 is away from this block in this way, tension T1 is away from this block in this way, and an acceleration is also there. Okay, so T2, since it is moving in this direction, this force is greater, so T2 is greater since it is moving in the same direction of acceleration. So T2 minus T1 is equal to M2 into A. Okay, so T2 minus T1, we found it as M1A is equal to M2 into A. So T2 is equal to M1 plus M2 into A. Okay, this is the tension T2. Now what is the value of acceleration due to gravity you want to find? I have said that acceleration due to gravity, it is a simple thing, force by sum of masses. So it is force by M1 plus M2 plus M3. Okay, or otherwise you draw the free body diagram for M3. This force is acting here, tension T2 is acting in this way, and here force is greater than T2, so F minus T2 is equal to M3A. Okay, force minus T2 we found out here. Now that value you substitute here, M1 plus M2 into A is equal to M3A. This you bring to this side and you get the value of acceleration as F by M1 plus M2 plus M3. In this way you have to do the numericals on this concept. I hope you like this lecture. If you like this lecture, please subscribe Kishore's Neet Padasala, and I request you to do many more numericals on your institutional materials on this concept to develop your understanding path. Thank you.